Fantasy?
Film.
Bye! What'd you fucking say?
Fantasy.
Film fight!
I still don't get it.
Fantasy. Fight!
We take the pick of the litter.
We take it in turns.
Someone's just gotta go first.
And then?
The next person.
They just go round and round.
That's what
We call it
fantasy.
Fight. You win some, you lose some.
Anything can happen.
So?
Who are you going with?
Who you picking? Today.
Fantasy.
Film.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 46 of Fantasy Film Fights, the show where we take a random film topic and we draft it fantasy style. As always, beside me, my co-host, Mr. Tony Held. Tony, how are you today?
I am very tired. So this is the last live episode that we're doing before the Christmas, and I'm just like, I have just finally today got my final present. I don't have to worry about anything after the fact. But I know it's just like on the 23rd, I'm just gonna go, shit, I forgot Brenda.
Yeah.
That's like, I know. Brenda scares me, so I have to go get her something. It's just like but yeah. But apart from the knowledge that I'm gonna offend someone, yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I am hanging in there. Hurt my knee earlier today. Hopefully it heals up soon, but alas.
I thought I'd be back in time before you brought me on. Shit.
That's all right, buddy. Don't worry. We haven't even gotten to you yet. I'm about to introduce everyone, but I'm going to start with this man over here, Jonathon. How you doing, dude?
Hey, yeah, feeling good.
Good? Yeah.
Really good. Nice to be back after doing this a few weeks ago. Really enjoyed it, and second time I've been on this channel this week. So yeah, feeling right at home.
It's going to be a good one today. I forgot to tell the audience at home if you didn't see the sign before we went live. We're drafting movie soundtracks today, not scores, actual soundtracks. We did scores already.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, continuing on down over here in the corner, the one who arrived a little late, but he was here, Mr. Ryan Payne. Ryan, how you doing?
Pretty good. Just staying warm, winter's coming. Even though in San Diego there's no snow, but hey, doesn't mean we can't get 50-degree weather.
Did you say 50-degree weather?
I know, I'm being a bitch right now.
Okay. Down below me, we've got Jake Meltzer. Jake, how goes it in Vegas?
I'm not going to complain about the weather. I know better. It's going pretty well. I'm here. I'm glad I get a chance to redeem myself after participating in one of the more wild episodes of Fantasy Film Fights.
No.
And getting 0 votes in the poll. So my goal is to get one. That's just one person. I know I'm not going to get at least one person's vote in this show. So we shall see. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to be here regardless. And I did prep. I got to prep this time. I'm so happy. So,
well, you're happy. We're happy you put some work into your list. We shall see. I'm excited to see what you
Just quickly, before we move on, Bill Carell is going to kill you two.
I know. I'm coming off as a SoCal privileged guy, Bill. I'm being very privileged up here with my 50-degree weather and sunshine, wearing a jacket and some tight-ass socks. Don't worry. Everyone's going to lay lane on me today, Bill, so you won't be alone.
What is that in centigrade? Is that freezing?
It's 10 degrees. It's 10 degrees in proper temperature.
It's 2 degrees outside. Sod all you.
Summer.
I'll say we got snow on the ground in Chicago, so
yeah, everybody needs a lightning rod for December, so I'll be that lightning rod.
All right, and may I introduce, last but certainly not least, Mr. Brooklyn Vail in the corner. Brooke, how you doing?
I'm excited. It's good to be here on the soundtracks episode. I will not brag and say that it was minus 18 Celsius here in Canada. But that's like an average day here. This was like the first, oh shit, it's actually cold. But yeah, I got to listen to a lot of soundtracks this year as part of like jam session. So yeah, I think I have a really cool list.
Nice.
Yeah. I knew I had to get you on this one because I know you're like the music dude of the family. So at least you are in my head. So, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. In order to get going, Tony's gonna explain to us how we decide draft order. Tony, take it away.
Okay, so the way we design draft order is I've got a numerical question here. Whether closest to the answer, we'll get to pick draft order and decide whether or not they're going to go first, or be it they can put themselves in the middle to themselves. That some people have started to do and just even knows the worst spot. But alas, the question we have today. So in a world of television, The greatest TV show to have with the great soundtrack is How I Met Your Mother. No one can argue that. That's their soundtrack is incredible if you listen to it. They've got some of the best bands of the 2000s.
500 miles.
And Proclaimers are one of the greatest bands of all time. But the question I've got is how many times do the son and daughter appear in How I Met Your Mother?
Oh, Jesus.
Do a son and daughter appear in How I Met Your Mother?
The son and daughter. So
how many times do the son and daughter appear in How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah. When they have Bob Iger talking to them, how many times?
Jumping back with Future Ted. Yeah.
Okay.
9 seasons. So.
Yeah, my question was going to be just like, how many episodes was it? Then I realized people could do the maths. Go, it's 9 seasons. Just times that by 22. That's easy enough. Yeah. So I thought I'll make it a bit harder on you. And
even when you take out the aging, they do always have those constant clip backs to the son and daughter, and so they found ways around it.
I'm doing this according to IMDb. So what IMDb claimed that David Henry and Lindsay Fonseca appear as.
How many times they appear on screen? Because I know they cut to them a couple times. Sometimes, so sometimes they don't cut to them at all.
It's how many episodes?
Okay. All right, I overshot. Thank you for that clarification.
I still may overshoot, but
Hey.
I know, Bill. I know.
All right. Everyone got a guess?
Yeah, sure. I'll just.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay.
got a number.
We'll go in reverse order. So Brooklyn.
I said Wayne Gretzky, 99.
And Jonathan.
I went 23.
I might say the word Jake, but my brain went to the wrong J. So Jake.
I'm continuing the theme from the last episode I was on. I'll just say 69.
You're a child. Ryan.
Well, I thought I'd have the lowest one. I just said 47.
And Peggy.
I went 92.
So the correct answer is actually someone's only 4 off, and goddamn, it's the person who went fucking 69.
Yeah.
They appear 65 times.
He did the Barney Stinson number. Damn it.
All right. Well, with that, Jake, it falls upon you, good sir, to decide everyone's fate and who goes first, who goes last. How you setting it up? Who's going where?
Okay. Well, I will go second. Brooklyn can go first. I will let Jonathan go third. Peggy 4, and then Ryan can get the wrapper.
Okay, play from behind.
Ryan gets the turn.
Okay,
All
so
right.
just in case anyone's watching for the first time, we do this as a snake draft. So if you're first in the first round, you went last in the second round, last in the first round, first in the second round, blah, blah, blah. It's like a draft. People should know how they work. So just to update the order. So Brooklyn is going first, Jake second, Jonathan third, Peggy fourth, and Ryan fifth.
Okay. With that, Brooklyn, you're officially on the clock. What is the first overall draft pick of movie soundtracks? Go.
Okay, so I am going to apologize to one panelist in advance because if I was only going to get this if I got first, but I believe it starts with Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith. I was dazed and confused. It's one of my wife's favorite movies. I revisit it at least once a year. Just a really fun soundtrack. Like when you go to even like the No More Mr. Nice Guy, whenever they're paddling the freshmen, obviously it has some influence in the community. But yeah, I think it's like one of the objective like top tier picks.
A soundtrack so good that they had to release a second one. I'm mad you took it.
This was one of my top 2. So I basically wanted to be ahead. I wasn't sure, but I'm happy with the other one I'm going to take. But yeah, this is inarguably an all-time great soundtrack. As somebody who grew up on 70s rock in my household, this was a formative soundtrack for me. Whatever you say about the movie, you cannot argue that the soundtrack is not basically perfect.
I'd say the movie is fantastic, as is the
I
soundtrack.
do too, but some people are not as high on it as you and me, Peggy.
I'm in that boat. Like for me, I'm in the. I saw it once. I have no appetite to watch it again. The soundtrack was fantastic. Great pick.
Yeah, I was going back and forth on that. This kind of honestly made an honorable mention on my list, so it's still a good pick. It's a very good choice.
Just quick to say, it has songs like Hurricane from Bob Dylan, Paranoid from Black Sabbath, Normal Mr. Nice Guy, Stranglehold from Ted Nugent, Why Can't We Be Friends by War. If any film has Why Can't We Be Friends in it, it automatically gets 5 stars.
I am pissed. It's off the board. Obviously, I had the CDs ready because I wanted to go number 1 to me. Thanks, Jake. And also thanks, Brooklyn.
I knew you were gonna. I knew that would be your top pick, but I did not know that would be Brooklyn's top pick.
What are you trying to say? I'm predictable or something? That I'm a huge Linklater fan? Okay.
Shots fired.
Touche. Fair enough. All right, Jake, you're up. What do you got up your sleeve?
All right. Well, I'm going. I ask that Tony be muted in advance because he is going to absolutely hate what I am going to pick for my first pick. And Christina is also going to absolutely hate me for what my first pick is going to be. I'm going to lose their votes right here. But I grew up in Minnesota, so there really is no other choice.
Okay.
It's Purple Rain.
God damn it!
Yeah. Okay. Every song on this album, I'm serious, please mute Tony. I don't want to hear his bullshit here, his negativity. I've had enough of it already. Every song on this album is incredible. Everything's perfect. Starting with Let's Go Crazy, a song so great that they use it to celebrate touchdowns at every Minnesota Vikings game. You get Beautiful Ones, which is a remarkable love song. You get, obviously, the title number is phenomenal, Purple Rain. When Doves Cry is just an all-time great. And then that's just the Prince songs. You also get Morris Day and the motherfucking Time. I mean, come on. A song so good, they had to reuse it and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and do a whole concert number around it. Yeah, I think Dazed and Confused was my other top one, but I'm more than happy to have Purple Rain as my top pick. Yeah, he really does, because his takes are awful. But yeah, this is just the movie. I'm not saying the movie is great. It's not. But the music, you can't argue, is phenomenal.
No, you can't argue it's a solid pick. It was definitely in my top 10. I don't know if it would have made my top 5, but I'm assuming Ryan's reaction, he was a little upset. Kind of like I was with Brooklyn's.
Yeah, I was upset. For me, Purple Rain, look, I had a love-hate relationship with this movie growing up, mainly because Mom was a big fan of Purple Rain. She was not afraid to show it. She was not afraid to share anything of Prince. And of course, as a 5, 6, 7-year-old kid, I'm like, no, I want to listen to what I want. But of course, getting older, watching Purple Rain, of course, the final performance when he does the song, and then listening to the soundtrack, and then of course, learning more about Prince. Of course, it's like those situations where you go why was I this ignorant as a child not to open my mind to something as revolutionary and someone as talented as Prince? So, yeah, he definitely was going to be one of my top draft picks.
Anybody else have this one on their list?
I consider this one for my short list. I was gonna wait to see if it was going maybe second round. I do like the hits. Let's Go Crazy is probably one of the best opening records for a soundtrack. But other than When Doves Cry and Purple Rain, there isn't a ton of stability. But that's just my own personal preference.
Yeah, same. Towards the bottom of my long list. It's good. I like it. Right. I don't go back and re-listen to it too much, but I know that a lot of people do, and I'm probably in the minority there. But yeah, good pick.
Jonathan, so Tony can't chime in. Jonathan, pick real quick.
I hate everyone. I've said it before. I said it again. Prince sucks.
Oh, doggy.
Oh yeah, hi Roar. She's saying.
Yeah, I'm not gonna jump on that, Tony. I will be here.
Yeah, don't dignify him with a time. Let's move on.
All right,
let's move on then. Okay, I'll go
quickly before we end up in a 40-minute argument about why I'm right. And
I'll go with.
We'll just into it, agree to disagree. Yeah, I will never concede.
Okay. I'm genuinely surprised I get this one. I thought this would be the first one to go or the second one to go. Only going third. I would argue this is the most important soundtrack of all time. This is an album that went 16 times platinum in America. It spent 18 weeks at #1 in the UK. It's in the Library of Congress as a significant soundtrack. It won the Grammy Award for the Album of the Year. And it's probably the only soundtrack that isn't just seen as being a great soundtrack, but the best album in its genre. Literally, of all albums in the genre of disco, I would say the best album is Saturday Night Fever, which the Bee Gees just ran with. The track after track after track on that is brilliant. My background is I was not born, but I lived on the Isle of Man, a small island off the coast of between England and Ireland for most of my life. No one famous is from there apart from Mark Cavendish, the cyclist, and the motherfucking Bee Gees, who were all born there. They are the local celebrities. I was looking up to see Robin Gibb play there a couple of times. The disco songs on that are just unmatched. You have everything from their previous hits, like Jive Talking, the ones that weren't written for there, and then you get More Than a Woman. You get Staying Alive. You get Night Fever. Disco was never better than that, and I dare say pop music was barely ever better than that. It's just a complete landmark in how good pop music and a pop soundtrack can be. And it's just as wonderful to listen to, well, today as I was out for my walk, as it was back when it was released over 30 years ago now. It's just a brilliant album. And then that's on the Bee Gees stuff. And then you look at all the other disco hits they bring in on the four sides. You get the Beethoven's Fifth remix. It's just a fantastic album to listen to.
I gotta confess, I didn't even think to write this one down, but I'm kind of upset with myself that I did.
This would have been my first overall pick as well.
See? Yeah.
In my research, it popped up in a lot of top 20, top 10 movie soundtracks, but
I'm personally more of an ABBA fan myself. I think the greatest disco album ever made is ABBA's Voulez-Vous. I haven't watched the movie, don't really dabble much into the soundtrack. Not a huge Bee Gees guy, but like it's solid.
Okay.
Yeah, it's solid. It's not really my. I like some of the songs. Again, it's been a really long time since I've seen the movie, so therefore it's been a really long time since I've engaged with the soundtrack. Staying Alive obviously is iconic, and you can't really argue that. The first
I can't argue that More Than a Woman's also good too.
Yeah, the first major dance scene at the club also great song. I forget which one it is, but yeah, I guess just not. Yeah, and I don't hate disco, but there were other soundtracks that are more sort of my taste. So that was sort of where I went. Yeah.
I believe Matt Damon in The Martian, locked alone in space, only with disco music to listen to, gave me the vibes you're giving me now in terms of.
Oh no, it's not. It's not like we hate it. I mean, I'm not personally saying I hate it. It's just something I would not have contended. It's not because I didn't gravitate to disco. It's just like I guess it kind of flew over my head, but then by the time I got to learn of disco through my parents, it's just more of this was popular. It's my dad's reaction when he ever listened to me listening to rap, or at the time when I was a prissy adolescent listening to new metal. He's like, "You like this shit?" So
I can get down with pretty much any genre of music as long as it's good music. I'm just done with it.
I just want to quickly read out the first 5 tracks on this album. So it's Staying Alive, How Deep Is Your Love, Night Fever, More Than a Woman, and then If I Can't Have You from Yvonne Ailman. It's like those are 5 fucking bangers to have in your movie already.
Yeah, that's right.
Let me go on.
But it's good.
All right.
I'm now going to have Night Fever stuck on my head for the rest of the day. I hate you.
Based on this, though, I like to think that, my other picks aren't going to get taken, and I can just go down my first 5 I'm happy with for the next hour and a half.
It happens that way sometimes. It's weird. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes your first 5 go off the board immediately, You never can tell. Over to me. So earlier today, in honor of this episode, I went into my closet and I dug out one of these bad boys. You guys remember these?
Oh,
I dug out my CDs from when I was a youth. And so I pulled, these are all movie soundtracks here, this stack. They're all movie soundtracks. So I think since Dazed and Confused is off the board and I'm bitter about it, I think I need to limit my picks to what is in my hands. And so that's what I'm going to do. That's just a little
risk.
yeah, no, it's a little handicap I'm giving myself for this episode just for shits and giggles because I feel like it. But luckily, in this case, out of two, the other one was buried too deep and I messed up my knee, so I couldn't get at it. Luckily, my number 2 pick was amongst the CDs in that massive case. And it is a fantastic soundtrack because it spans, I want to say, 3 decades worth of music. And you get music from all genres. I mean, we're talking Elvis Presley, Creedence Clearwater Revival. We got the Doors. We got Bob Dylan. And I am taking Forrest Gump.
I thought that was after I heard Bob Dylan. I'm like, oh my god.
It's got a little bit of everything from all these different eras that Forrest lived through, and I thought they knocked that out of the park with the music in this movie, and so yeah, I had to have this album when it came out, and so yeah, my pick is Forrest Gump. Discuss.
Would have been the next one that I picked. I believe it also has Fleetwood Mac on there in some way, shape, or form.
Aretha Franklin, yeah, Four Tops, Simon and Garfunkel, Bob Seger, Alan Silvestri's score is on here a little bit, so a little bit of cheat there.
Definitely. Oh my god, that's a good one. No, that's a really good choice because there are certain scenes in Forrest Gump where certain the songs are that were like they're like laced into it to help really make the movie flow. So it's like if all of a sudden I listen to one of the songs on there, like if I hear "You Can Go Your Own Way," I can immediately think of Forrest Gump jogging, during his little run where everyone's joining him. And it's just like one of those situations to where just a song will kickstart a memory from a scene that you're from the movie, just right in your head. It can be perfectly crystal clear, or it'll just be a little fuzzy to where it's like, maybe if I watch the movie again, I'll watch it. So that's kind of like another good thing of the soundtrack. It makes you want to watch the movie again. So that is a very good choice.
And I was so young when this movie came out that it was like, for me, it was the first time hearing a lot of these songs. Unfortunately, I just hadn't been exposed to them. But yeah, I dug every single one of them.
It's always fun with albums like that where it's like the movie style will go and pull songs from like the 60s and 70s, just go, holy shit, this is amazing. Why I've never heard this before. I think this is one that works in it because this was the first time I probably heard someone like Willie Nelson.
Oh, really?
True. I think that was the first for me too. First for me, listening to Bob Seger, Willie Nelson. I mean, I knew of Aretha Franklin, but that was like Forrest Gump was one of the movie soundtracks that got me to actually want to invest some time. When I no longer stopped listening to rap. I mean, I still do, but
it worked really well in the movie. It's all very integrated. I guess my feeling is it all feels very forced, but the entire movie does to me. It's all every perfectly thing put into sequence to make it all work, and it feels a bit artificial. But when you strip all that back and just look at the songs, they are fantastic. Great choice.
All right, so I get Forrest Gump. Yay, Ryan. Close that round one for us. What is your first overall pick?
Well, I know everybody here wanted to bring like culture. They wanted to, show exquisite taste. I guess for me, for my first pick, I'm bringing everybody down to my level into the geek realm. And I'm picking, of course, one movie that loved since I was a child, since I watched, and it brings up so many memories to me. Don't care how many times I rewatch it. And one of the few soundtracks to a geek movie that I will watch. I mean, listen to. Wow. I'm trying to build this up and I'm already failing.
Ryan has that ability where you can see music. It's like you see colors with the music. That's what Ryan has.
Yeah, I can see it, but I can't read music. Here it goes. But I'm just gonna cut to the chase. My pick is the first the first released in 1977, the Star Wars soundtrack. It's probably one of the few soundtracks I've listened to that doesn't have like actual singing. I mean, it's mostly. I mean, of course, there's chorus singing in the background.
That's a score.
That's a score, babe.
Oh, son of a bitch! Yeah. I was researching that. I'm trying to pay attention. Like, this is a soundtrack.
I believe we made it abundantly clear that it was not scores.
No, you did. That's my fault. I'll take a shot once I'm done with my first pick. Okay.
Tequila coming.
Unfortunately, I'm out of tequila, so it's mainly just gonna be bourbon.
That works too.
But if okay, now that scores are definitely taken out, but this, I guess here was my original choice. It is the Creed soundtrack that was. Of course, with the Creed soundtrack, this is one of the movies that got me back into actually listening to movie soundtracks, because around like between 2007 and all the way up to its release, I did not listen to a movie soundtrack. I would listen to a certain song of a movie that was paired to it, but Creed was the actual movie that I actually wanted to go on to either Apple, Spotify, or even go to a store, buy the actual soundtrack to listen to. And I loved all the songs on there. But of course, one of my definite favorites is The Fire from John Legend and The Roots. And of course, it has the song Tessa Thompson sings in the movie onto it as well, Grip. And then of course, Lord Knows by Meek Mill. It's a great song, but then also does a good job splicing in fighting like fighting strong, like that little fighting strong from the Rocky soundtrack. Yep. So it's a good mash of genres in there. And yeah, that's my choice, Creed.
No, I think it's a solid choice. When I first saw that movie, I'm like, they knocked it out of the park with the music in this one. The scene where Creed is running like Rocky did, and all like the four-wheelers and everything join them, and I thought it was knocked it out of the park. So I'm not hating this pick.
Definitely that's definitely the musical highlight of the movie for me as well. I love that song too, and it just works perfectly with that scene. This did not come up for me, mainly because that's really the one song in there that I remember. But I love Creed. And okay, that's just rude, Jonathan. Don't be mean like that to Ryan.
No, Jonathan had a point, because I know that there's also a Creed scores with all of Ludwig von Göransson, all of his tracks on there. So he does have a point.
Well, I'm not gonna say there's another geek movie where that is also the case, but I love Creed's a great movie. There's good music on there. That Meek Mill song in particular, solid.
So I just gotta say one thing, that you said that Tessa Thompson was a good part of the soundtrack. Just like personally, her singing was the worst part of that film for me.
It's just 1 minute. It's a minute and 20 seconds. I can live with it.
But I was there just like, you might want to if you want to have a singer, you might need to cast someone that can sing.
Ouch.
Great today, Tony, aren't you?
I mean, she's meant to be an up-and-coming singer. So.
How many musicals have you seen over the years?
Yikes. I'm going to be the old man in the corner here and say that I'm just not a fan of 2010s hip-hop. I think there are some great songs in here, and I do like the Roots John Legend one. But there's a couple other ones that I'm just like, yeah, this is stuff that I don't really listen to.
Fair enough.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
Different strokes, different folks.
Actually, I never listened to a Meek Mill song until I listened to the Creed soundtrack.
All right, that brings us to the end of round one. Tony, do us a favor and recap it for anyone who was late to the party.
Absolutely. Okay, so Brooklyn went first overall. He went with Dazed and Confused. Jake went second with Purple Rain. Jonathon went with Saturday Night Fever. Peggy, you went with Forrest Gump. And Ryan finished off the round with Creed. So I'm just going to say, so we are doing soundtracks. So the way we're doing this is that it's music that has been made for the movie, but it's also like popular contemporary music stuff or something similar. We're not talking about scores here. So the Star Wars didn't work because there's not like there's not like the singing involved apart from the Cantina. But if there was a Cantina soundtrack, we would 100% accept it. You'll be insane, but we'd accept it.
Hey, it's Sung and Hunt Tees, then I would definitely accept it.
I'm pissing a lot of people off touching the bottoms of these CDs right now.
You think people
take me back? Sibling rivalries. Don't scratch my CDs.
All right, round two. Let's go. Ryan, kick it off for us. What's next on your list of draftees of movie soundtracks?
Well, while I recuperate from my mess up of Star Wars, I guess I will go to another soundtrack that I definitely now I adore even more now. When I remember listening to this, it from this classic animated film, a film that me and my siblings always listen to over and over again. And of course, it has great pop ballads. It has great songs that you just want to sing and dance to. But also in the end, when it comes down to it, you will never, ever, ever have a friend like me. I'm picking the Aladdin soundtrack from the animated Aladdin soundtrack. Because not some songs hit and miss, but it's kind of like that soundtrack to where you can pick 5 or a couple of songs on there you want to listen to over and over again. Of course, Prince Ali Baba's fantastic. A Friend Like Me. The intro, The Arabian Nights, is awesome. And of course, no one can ever forget A Whole New World. So there's like a good collection of songs in here that's kind of separated apart from each other. You kind of definitely want to enjoy taking it back to your, not just nostalgic, but whenever you listen to it, watch Aladdin, and then you want to listen to it again. It's like a good, I find it as a good like pairing, honestly.
No, that's fair. I just never find myself wanting to listen to animated movie soundtracks very often. So I don't think I have anything animated on my list. But
I don't either, but that was a conscious choice. That was a conscious choice. I didn't want to do like any of the Disney musicals. I tried not to have musicals on my list, but obviously, I am a child of the '90s. Aladdin is my first or second favorite Disney movie, so I have no arguments here.
Yeah, same. I fully support, like, if you're going for a musical, if you're going for a Disney musical in the 90s, that is right up there. Every song is a hit. You didn't even talk about the Prince Ali Second Time, sung by Jafar, the prize. That's one of my favorite villain songs in all of Disney, where Jafar just goes mad at him.
He just tears him down.
Yeah, it's just catchy, memorable tune after catchy, memorable tune. I know A Whole New World won the Oscar deservedly. I think it's a really, really good. If we're going for like that being your musical choice, that's a great musical choice.
So yeah, I'm gonna continue to be an old man in a corner. I never drank the Aladdin Kool-Aid. I actually think A Whole New World is like one of the most overplayed Disney songs ever. And yeah, hopefully you'll get to hear my Disney choice at some point.
You're not alone, Brooklyn. It was like, to compare to How I Met Your Mother, that song was like the Proclaimer song. Like, I hate it, I come around to it, hate it again, and I come around to it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I think the Aladdin's I don't know if anyone's going to pick it because I'm like the only person in this community that does say this, but I think the Will Smith remake one is the soundtrack especially is much better than the original. But
Will Smith is a rapper and a singer, so of course he's able to dance it over Ron Williams.
I'm gonna say because the music has more of a Bollywood feel to it, and that sounds a lot more big, bombastic, and brilliant. I'm
trying to be the lending hand here. I'm trying to be the gate here, Tony. They're like, okay, you make some good points, but I can't keep your opinions walled up forever. People are gonna tear them down.
All right, so Aladdin is off the board. Over to me. I have 20 more soundtracks in this stack here. I'm thinking this one's the most logical one to go off the board next because it's the only one that has maybe a slight chance of anyone else drafting it. So I figure I might as well take it. This is another one that is pretty much the epitome of 90s music. We've got a lot of Gin Blossoms on here. Got I can't even think of I'm blanking on all the rest of the music. Urge Overkill's on it. I'm going Empire Records.
Shocker.
Out of the stack, it seemed the most plausible at this point to take. And apparently, I really like the music from the movie because I bought the soundtrack and used to listen to it often. Could I name all the songs on it right now? No, I'm relying on Tony looking it up on IMDb or whatever he's looking right now to name off some of the artists or something.
So songs like Till I Hear It From You from the
Gin Blossoms, I named those.
Liar from the Cranberries. Crazy Life from Toad and the Wet Sprockets.
I like Toad and the Wet Sprocket.
I Don't Want to Live Today by Ape Hangers. What You
You're
Are.
gonna list all of them. You should just name a couple. That's fine. Anybody else? Did anybody else even have Empire Records on their list? Yes. No?
I've been dating my wife for 6 years. She has said to me Happy Rex Manning Day for 4 of those years, and I didn't know what she meant until I joined this community. So,
I have not seen it.
Okay.
I have also not seen it or listened to the soundtrack, and I apologize for my ignorance in this.
I'm showing my non-millennialness at the moment.
I have also not seen it.
That's fine. We shall press on then. Jonathan, go ahead. What's your second overall pick?
The movie's available on Hulu or Netflix, so I mean it's not that hard to find.
It is available, and also if you are interested in after you watch it, there was a deep cut match hosted by her on this channel. It was Mark Kamara taking on Brian Michaels, and also if you are interested in some plug-in shit, keep your eye out. Go on if you are interested. Facebook page, go on, and because Haley is signing up people for the Iron Giant deep cut match for January.
That one I've never seen.
Cheap plugs.
But anyways, we shall move on. Jonathan, what you got?
Sure. I commented on Forrest Gump that I thought it was quite heavy-handed. I'm going to run with that and go for probably the most heavy-handed soundtrack I've ever seen, but they own it and they run with it, taking all the best pop and rock songs from 60s, 70s, 80s, really bringing in all that nostalgia and then throwing it in your face with the main character literally having a tape player of all the favorite songs from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I'm going for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, the Awesome Mix 1, and I'm amazed this hasn't gone yet. Firstly, it's one of the first soundtracks I can recall where I knew nearly, if not all, the songs going in, and yet I still loved how they work. In the film, how they applied them, it's fantastic. The way they can go for David Bowie deep cuts like Moon Age Daydream, a real personal favorite of mine, and how that works just for the brief bit of the solo is fantastic. But how they bring in, I want you back, I'm not in love in the love scene. It's all so forced, but so wonderful. It suits the tone of the movie so well in this, yep, this is what we're doing, and you like it, and yet take the movie completely away. It's just a great, wonderful collection of songs to listen to. It's just a marvelous record.
Yeah, when I first saw this movie, I had two reactions to it. One, I was pissed they made me cry inside the first 5 minutes. And two, the soundtrack was outstanding. So I'm with you on this pick.
When I heard Ain't No Mountain High Enough, I immediately just like a spark clicked into my head. I'm like, oh, now you sons of bitches got me. I mean, even though it was near the end, I was loving the movie, but it was like, I don't know how I feel about these songs. And then I hear it, I'm like, okay, now I'm hooked. And then, of course, I go back to listen to the soundtrack, even though technically Ain't No Mountain High and I Want You Back is on Volume 2. I kind of spliced it into my own personal Spotify playlist.
Yes, I'm mistake, yeah.
Yeah, I thought, Ryan, this is where you were going when you were talking about like an iconic soundtrack. I thought about this as my next pick, just because very much in my wheelhouse in terms of music taste. I mean, you have Hooked on a Feeling. I mean, yeah, like you said, it is pretty heavy-handed. Like Spirit in the Sky is so cliche, but it's a great song. It's still a great song. Fooled Around and Fell in Love when Peter and Gamora are dancing is just chef's kiss. It's just like the perfect it's the perfect jam out playlist for just whenever. That's one that I would listen to just in my free time if I listen to music regularly. That's a great pick.
I would say almost this, it doesn't even feel like a soundtrack. It just feels like a really good playlist you made, which is what it is in the film, and that's what elevates it.
Okay, so I am going to continue to be the old man in the corner. Number one, I prefer Volume 2 over Volume 1. In particular, whenever they use the chain in Volume 2, it is one of my favorite MCU moments ever. I don't like gravitate to this as much, and I think it's partially because of the community, but secondly because I think overall, other than like Hooked on a Feeling, Spirit in the Sky, I think what James Gunn did was take songs that were that sounded like familiar, but not everybody knew, and like that's where you get like the nostalgia vibe. And like whenever people argue about like, oh, the songs are like a character in the film, and it's like, but that's been done for years and years and years. And I think there's a lot of people that are like they praise it as like not an original idea, but like the best version of it, and I disagree.
Oh, it's certainly among the most heavy-handed versions. I think for a lot of people, they haven't really felt that before, not consciously felt it before, because the film forces you to notice my music throughout. I think a lot of viewers will have really felt it in that sense, even though you're right. They will have seen it before in many other movies and felt it in many other movies, but not quite cottoned on the director who's doing that. It's so in your face, but that's kind of why I love it.
it does feel like the biggest film to have ever have gone. Just like, oh yeah, and if you open the script, you're just like, this song appears here. Like the soundtrack is already written into the script. There's only one other film I can think of that's just like that. Well, that just like the music is so ingrained in. That is it a musical?
I guess he's keeping mum about which movie that is, just in case it gets picked.
Mm-hmm.
All right, with that,
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know if this might be, I guess you could consider my musical pick, even though I'm not really sure it's a musical. It just happens to have a lot of musical performances in it. It's the Blues Brothers.
Okay.
That's my number 2 pick. I mean, you got a little bit of everything in here. You've got Motown, you've got old time rock and roll. You have a theme song from a Western TV show while they're getting bottles thrown at them. I mean, you've got Cab Calloway, who has a role in the movie, just absolutely brings the house down at the end with Minnie the Moocher, which is a great song anyway. You got James Brown, Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin in the movie. Ray Charles and Aretha Franklin actually performing songs phenomenally, and just this is a favorite. This is one of my favorite movies. It's a childhood favorite of mine, and a lot of the big reason of that is the music. And yeah, I think Blues Brothers is a slam dunk for this list.
Fair enough. Being from Chicago, I appreciate the pick. Did anybody else have?
I knew you would.
I haven't seen. I'll get me out of the way. I haven't seen the Blues Brothers yet, but I'm a big fan of Canadian Dan Aykroyd. So I should probably check it out sooner rather than later.
Might be a tad dated at this point, but you'll still enjoy it.
It is a little dated, but it is a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, even when I finally got to watch it, it still felt dated to me, but at the same time, it didn't matter because I think with the Blues Brothers, it was honestly the first film I finally got a chance to watch John Belushi actually perform. I watched Blues Brothers, then Animal House, but even then, it was kind of like with John Belushi. I've heard so much about how much of a comedic genius he is from a couple of the SNL episodes what I was able to find. So seeing him in performance in Blues Brothers, just with physical performance and whenever he worked on his timing, I still love that moment where he's pleading to Carrie Fisher not to be shot, and then he takes the glasses off, and it's like just disarming in one goddamn look. Like, there's good moments of John Belushi in that movie, and the soundtrack I was back and forth on, but even then, it was still a good soundtrack. I would definitely never say no to listening to this at a get-together or at a party, or heck, if I see if my uncle's actually owns it on vinyl, I'm like, you know what? I'll give you $10 and I'll buy it off of you, even though they'll hack it up to 20.
Oh yeah.
You think vinyl's worth $10?
Vinyl's making a comeback. Everyone seems to be collecting it now.
It's a film that I saw when I was about 10. I don't think I've seen since, but I can still recall a few of the songs. And if you are 20 years on going, oh yeah, I remember that song. Oh yeah, that song's really catchy. Oh yeah, I can still play that one in my head. It shows the strength of the soundtrack in that sense. One I should revisit, I think.
Not good comedy, fantastic music movie. I don't find it funny, but it's just like the music performances from the Blues Brothers and like Ray Charles especially. Ray Charles scene is probably one of the best music scenes in film.
Good thing we're not arguing the merits of the movie.
I know. I'm just saying, but the Blues Brothers just like, it's weird it's weird how such a good of a band they were, because they're actually good performers in their own right as singers. Just like, which is weird. When I went to watch a movie, I've watched it over the year. It's like I've heard one of their songs before, and it's just like I was like, oh, I'm expecting them to be like, it's more of like them dancing around to like the fat guy's doing backflips. Hey, isn't it funny? It's like, oh no, actually you're talented musicians. Holy shit.
I mean, wasn't the Blues Brothers inspired Dan Aykroyd? I mean, Dan Aykroyd's way of wanting to share his love of the blues to where it kind of led into him like being like an investor into the House of Blues, like, areas. So there's like a huge that's like powerful lineage and influence like showing right there. So yeah, it is a good choice, Jake.
Thank you.
Blues Brothers off the board. Brooklyn, over to you to close out round 2. What you got up your sleeve, buddy?
All right, I'm really surprised that Jonathon did not pick this in round 1. I thought he was leaning towards this one, but I would put this in like the handful or like even the Mount Rushmore of great soundtracks of the 90s. If you have talked to me in this community, I am a sucker for 90s alt rock, and it is not done better in Trainspotting.
Scare me for a second.
That was my next pick.
Yeah, I'm sorry. As soon as I saw this this is available, I was like, I have to take it. You have Lust for Life, Iggy Pop. You have Blur, Lou Reed. You have the Trainspotting self-titled track by Primal Scream. It's a culmination of like everything that was going on in that time. You would have like Blur, which eventually would turn into like the lead singer from that band would then go to form Gorillaz. And it's like not necessarily artists that I go back to all the time, but it just like I think this is like what Guardians of the Galaxy does for me, and it gets you into the overall atmosphere of the time. And yeah, it's fun.
No,
it's more than fun. It's more than fun. It's an integral part of that movie. The scene where they are recovering and Blurs sing, the piano chord is played just as they're trying to come around. The sequence where they're in the club and when Kelly MacDonald walks in and Blondie's atomic and she's there just when atomic and it's there on her face. It's just wonderful. Born Slippy. It's just it was my next pick. I was hoping no one else would go for it. You've really let me down by going for it, and I don't think we're friends anymore. It's just a brilliant subject.
Well, that's good to know because I was thinking I might take it if it slipped around 4 or 5. Because it's a great soundtrack. Lust for Life is a huge reason why that opening is so memorable. It's a phenomenal song. The Lou Reed song, Perfect Man, Perfect Day. Sorry, is an all timer. That's a great pick.
Do you know the story of why Oasis rejected? Why Oasis don't appear in it?
They genuinely thought it was about Trainspotting, didn't they?
So it was a case of so Danny Boyle called them up and said, "Hey, I'm doing a film. It's called Trainspotting. Do you mind if we use one of your songs?" And they went, "That's going to be fucking lame. Why are we going to put our music in a film about people watching trains? Fuck off." Then it's like, especially with Blur got so much sales after the fact, especially in the States, they were just like, shit.
That's very on brand for Oasis.
Oh yeah.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. All right, that closes out round 2. Tony, you're up.
Absolutely. Okay, so for round 2, so we start off with Ryan in the rear. He went with 1992's Aladdin. Peggy went next, and you went for the Peggy's Pet to Ever Peggy in Empire Records. Jonathon went for Guardians of the Galaxy. Jake went for the Blues Brothers, and Brooklyn went for Trainspotting, taking it from the person that does live in Scotland. So Jonathon is now going to be kicked out of his own country.
All right, round 3 coming up. Brooklyn, falls to you.
All right, so we go from 90s Brit alt rock to the year 2000 and bluegrass and roots. If you have not filled in the blanks, we are going to the Coen Brothers, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Just a really good combination of like bluegrass and roots. Like all of these Soggy Bottom Boys tracks are great. Alison Krauss is also on here. She's like a 90s country star that kind of evolved into more of that bluegrass style. Ralph Stanley's version of Oh Death is like one of the best like solo performances that you can get on a soundtrack that has like no musical backing. It's literally just him, and you get the haunting in that track. I actually haven't seen this movie. I had to listen to it for an episode of Jam Session, and it's like one of the ones that has sort of like stayed with me throughout the year. And yeah, it's really fun if you like that like. It's like for me that's sort of a homey feel because like East Coast music is very like Celtic and sort of like folky in that way. But yeah,
Rue's on board.
Yeah, I will go on record. I hate country music, like it's just in general, but this album is a major exception to that. I love the movie. I'm a massive Coen Brothers fan. I love the music. Man of Constant Sorrow is for somebody who hates country music, it's maybe my favorite country song ever. And also the the song when they encounter the sirens, if you will, the hymn, the Down the River to Pray, is just so beautiful. Yeah, this was round 4 possibility for me. So it's a great choice.
It's kind of funny you picked that because I too have not seen Old Boy Without There, but I'm definitely familiar with the soundtrack. For me personally, with country, I didn't like country mainly because of the way it was popularized, like in the 2000s, like with the whole redneck country song. So it really tore me off. But thankfully, I took music classes, so it showed me the history of country music, and especially with bluegrass, the experimental stylings they did, the singers and the songs that came out of it that were able to like really good, deep and soulful songs. And this soundtrack, from what I looked at and when I got a taste of, really does give you an idea that this is like an ode to the country songs of like the times of the 50s, the 60s, to where it was like all about like soulful starts with beginnings. Like, A Man of Constant Sorrow is like a great example of that. Not like the constant Toby Keith, like fucking redneck songs to where it's like I'm sitting in my back fucking porch just drinking out of a red Solo cup. No, it's like, no, actual storytelling.
I was gonna say this might be one of the biggest examples of just the soundtrack outflips in the film, because I've not seen Over either, but I've listened to that soundtrack many times. It's just like it's probably the most well known of just like the soundtracks here and just the movie, just like a couple of steps lower. It's just like.
Yeah, that's it. Like it's like Grammy Award winning for album of the year, not just soundtrack of the year. Full on, the best album released in 2000. They adjudged was a soundtrack to Brother Where Art Thou. I'm not well versed in country music. I feel I'm not the best person to compare it to other country music. All I can say is it's really nice to listen to, and I like the album. And that's where this ignorant Scottish living British boy is going to stop talking.
Well, I remember Man of Constant Sorrow being played on like the top 40, it's called B96 in Chicago. It's like the pop music station. Like it was played like ad nauseum, and it was like on the pop music station. It was weird because it was such a phenomenon of a song at the time. And I don't get the whole. I mean, I remember as a child I used to say I hate country music just because I never really gave it a shot. But like now, like I said, I like all music as long as it's good.
Yeah.
But so solid pick. Oh, Brother Without Thou. Where art thou? I cannot speak right now. Jake, save me. Please take your 3rd round pick.
Just think of Robert Downey Jr. Where art thou?
I had to think about it for a little bit, but I'm gonna. I'll be surprised if anybody picks an older movie in this episode for any of their picks. I'm going back to the 60s. This is probably one of the first movies to popularize a famous artist, or in this case, artists too. Doing a soundtrack for an original soundtrack for a movie. Yes, Peggy, that is correct. I am picking The Graduate as my 3rd pick. Simon and Garfunkel, they're great, just in general, and their music is so crucial to this movie that I love this movie. I wouldn't say it's like in my top 50 of all time or whatever, but I genuinely do love this movie, and the music plays a huge role in it. Sound of Silence is an all-time great song. Scarborough Fair is so beautiful. It's so haunting. It just really enhances the movie, and that's what the best soundtracks do. Is it takes what otherwise, not that this was mediocre material or anything, but taking what was already pretty good material and interesting material and elevating it to all-time great status. And when you think of The Graduate, one of the first things you think of, other than maybe Mrs. Robinson, Are You Trying to Seduce Me, is the soundtrack. And yeah, so I'm going The Graduate, round 3.
No, that's fair. And I apologize, Jake. I tend to do that. I tend to try to guess what someone is about to say before they do so. And I thought I was going relatively under the radar. And then he had to call me on it. So my bad. I'm sorry. Anyone want to comment on The Graduate?
I'll go first, and then I'll pass it off. I am a fan of Simon and Garfunkel. The Boxer is actually the song that opens every single one of my sets. The argument that I will give is that Mrs. Robinson wasn't even written for this movie. It was actually written about Mrs. Eleanor Roosevelt, and then it actually got changed to fit into the movie. But yeah, it's solid. It's Simon and Garfunkel. You can't go wrong with it.
I was just about to bring that story up. So it's the case where Simon and Garfunkel. So they used Simon and Garfunkel's music, and then they went, "Oh, we can't really get original music for this. We're just going to ask Simon and Garfunkel and pay them to make 3 new songs." They only wrote 1 bit by the time the movie ended, and then they went, "All right, fuck it. Here's a song we're working on called Mrs. Roosevelt," and they were like, "We'll take that. We'll have that," and they became the biggest song.
I've not seen the movie, but I know all the songs. Every song you mentioned there is a song that I know. Some of them I absolutely love. The Sound of Silence is one of my favorite songs of all time. Yeah, if that's the soundtrack to that movie, that is a bloody good soundtrack to that movie.
Yeah, I was mainly going to pretty much bounce off what Jordan was saying, because this is another one of those soundtracks that kind of eclipses the movie, even though the movie itself is very popular. For me, I heard of, A Sound of Silence, Mrs. Robinson, and a few other Simon and Garfunkel songs before I even learned of The Graduate. So it was just like one of those situations to where it's like, oh, so that's where it came from, like in my mind.
Yeah, same here. I knew Sound of Silence and Scarborough Fair before I saw The Graduate as well.
And if you haven't heard the cover of Sound of Silence, check out Disturbed's cover of it.
Disturbed's cover is
amazing.
Oh,
that is good.
So good.
I think I've heard it. I'll listen to it after this episode.
One of my favorite concerts, surprisingly so, that I've ever been to was Disturbed, because I'm blown away by that lead singer's voice. He's amazing. Anywho, I'm getting off track. Jonathan, we move over to you.
Okay, this one's going to be fun. I'm hoping people agree with this choice. I'm going for the soundtrack here, not the movie. Avoidance of all doubt, I don't like this movie at all. The editing is apparently wonderful, but I think it just isn't a pleasant. I didn't find it a pleasant experience. Found it quite uncomfortable and very being told from the point of view of people that I don't think should have been telling that point of view. That being said, I'll just pull back to the UK and our best-selling albums of all time. And the best-selling album of all time in the UK is a Greatest Hits album by a British band. And it's really good. There's a lot of brilliant songs on that. The issue is that band released that Greatest Hits album about halfway through their career. They then had to release a second one. And there's a lot of good songs on that one, some brilliant ones. And then a third one, which is utter shite. And the soundtrack of this movie pulls together a lot of the best songs from the first one and the second one, gives us a wonderful Live Aid performance, the first one it was ever shown. It's the only soundtrack I actually own on vinyl. I'm going for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Nice. I totally thought you were going somewhere else.
I'm going for Bohemian Rhapsody. This is the single greatest compilation of probably my favorite band of all time. Maybe Oasis, but it's Oasis or Queen, they're the two. This gives you Radio Gaga and Under Pressure in the same place as Bohemian Rhapsody and We Will Rock You. It then gives you the Live Aid performances and the energy you can get on the record. It's just amazing to listen to. And some wonderful unreleased stuff, the stuff with Smile that had never been released before, all pulled into one place. The movie, I don't particularly like. This is, if I could have one Queen album, it's this one. It just has more of the good from all their various areas. I agree, best lead singer of all time. Wonderfully mimed. Oh, he got that Oscar for miming, didn't he? I think it's a marvelous, marvelous album. And if you ever want to have one Queen album, it's this one.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Bohemian Rhapsody, but in this case logic case down here, I have Queen's Greatest Hits, so I guess that gives me a pass. I don't know. But
so
go ahead, you guys.
So I deliberately decided to avoid music biopics in my list. Otherwise, this would have been Queen and Led Zeppelin are my two favorite bands of all time. Obviously, the music I just would rather just listen to the soundtrack than watch the movie, which is utter dog shit. Because I mean, Queen's the best. You're gonna get no argument from me on that. I just avoided all music biopics. So
it's a sneaky pick. I appreciate that.
I didn't even consider it.
It ain't the only sneaky pick that's gonna be brought in here. Honestly, This is the only positive thing. I've not seen Bohemian Rhapsody, but unfortunately, it's going to be stuck in my mind because of a couple of trivia matches I've lost to because of this. But personal bias aside, that is a good soundtrack to pick, honestly. I mean, what better way to reintroduce the world to reintroduce the Queen to the world and also to new generations? Honestly, it's not going to be as shy as one of my other picks I'm going to choose.
I will say that AO is the greatest 41 seconds in music, and that Keep Yourself Alive is an underrated Queen hit. But it's like the reason why I'm not picking this one is the same reason that I'm not picking Rocket Man, is because it's just sort of like like you said, it's a greatest hits compilation, and if I want that, I can I'm just gonna go to Spotify or I'm just gonna go throw on a record. But it sucks because because you're right in that it is the cream of the crop of Queen hits.
Fair.
Yeah, as you said, this is the first jukebox musical that we've had so far, and it's that thing of should they count, shouldn't they? Because it's literally just going, it's a fantastic band, let's get all the best hits and throw them in the movie. But it
still makes for a fantastic soundtrack.
It does.
So,
but weirdly, not a fantastic movie.
I will take that warning.
That movie bored me to tears. It's just especially if you compare it to Rocket Man, it's night and day. You should have just let Dexter Fletcher do it all.
And I don't even Rocket Man is fine, but compared to Bohemian Rhapsody, it's like an Oscar Best Picture winner.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen that one either, but I heard that Rami screwed Edgerton. Is it Edgerton?
Yeah.
Aaron Edgerton? Yeah, absolutely.
Aaron Edgerton's great.
Also,
but,
it's more the Academy screwed Taron Egerton, honestly.
Not even nominated. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I was going to say, I'm looking forward to the sequel to Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm in Love with My Car.
Thought they like to ride the bicycle. Sorry.
No, that was a B-side for Bohemian Rhapsody.
That was a B-side.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I should quit stalling. All right, so back to the stack of soundtracks I was able to find. I go. Earlier, Anthony called me out and said my last pick was the Peggy Chalk picks. So I'm just going to steer into that skid and keep on keeping on and go with the next one that I found in here. This one, another 90s, obviously, because I'm sticking with that aesthetic for my list. Not the biggest names on the soundtrack, but the songs fit the movie perfectly, in my opinion. I mean, you've got The Knack on here. You've got Dinosaur Jr., if anyone remembers them. I think the one that was most well-known off of this one was a song by a woman named Lisa Loeb called Stay. I'm taking Reality Bites. Has any of you youngsters ever seen Reality Bites? No? No from everyone on this panel? Great, grand, fantastic.
I know who's in it. I know who's in it. I just
Ethan Hawke knocks it out of the park. Yeah,
Winona Ryder. Yeah.
That's why I eternally love Ethan Hawke as this movie. Anyways, but no need to really discuss that one. I'm just gonna say, hey, I got Rally Bites on my list. Might as well move on, unless anyone really wants to chime in if they know anything about it.
Wish.
Nope, going once. Going twice.
I got nothing.
A few songs that appear in it. All I Want Is You from U2, Locked Out by Crowded House, Spinning Around Over You from Lenny Kravitz, Baby I Love Your Way by Big Mountain, and Mice Rona from The Knack. Any good album to start.
I got one person with me. Thank you, Gareth. I appreciate it.
Shocker, the old guy.
The old people. Hey, it's all right. It was in the zeitgeist of the time, so it has a special place in our hearts. What can I say? All right, moving on. Ryan, go ahead. Close out round 3 for us.
Well, I thought I was going to be the only one to sneak an actual musical biopic in here, but Jonathan beats me to it. So, but it doesn't matter anyway, because mirroring my same sentiments towards him picking Bohemian Rhapsody about a movie soundtrack from a musical biopic that reintroduces a new generation to pretty much the old generation of music. My pick is, of course, to the. I gotta stop trying to build things. I'm just gonna fucking say it. I picked Straight Outta Compton for my soundtrack choice.
Ooh,
Straight Outta Compton. It's one of those things. It kind of reminded me why NWA is very good, because I, of course, growing up, parents did not want me near any sound that was any rap, any music that was too explicit for myself. And of course, later in the 90s and early 2000s, I started getting exposed to that stuff. And then NWA fell into the backside to where I was only familiar with Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. Then around high school, I was told about NWA. I looked them up, got to listen to maybe 2 of their songs, mainly was Straight Outta Compton and Boys in the Hood, which is mainly just Eazy-E. But still, those 2 songs, I stayed. Yeah. And then, of course, then finally, thanks to Spotify, Apple Music, I finally get to listen to their songs. They're great. Then I hear about Straight Outta Compton sound, the biopic coming up. I'm like, what songs are they going to choose to actually eclipse their career? I know they can't. It's all going to be very short, and it's going to be pretty much the hits. They get together, they form, they break apart, blah, blah, blah. But I was amazed that they actually got to at least put on a verse of No Vaseline of Ice Cube in that damn movie, which shocked the hell out of me. I'm seeing people in my theater row just going, wait, this was the Ice Cube back in the 90s, not the Ice Cube of now, not the Ice Cube during the family movies, like Where Are We Now, or the Ice Cube from Triple X State of the Union, or Ice Cube from Boys in the Hood. That was the Ice Cube of who he just did not give a fuck. And then it was just like it was a very great soundtrack, and it was great to just have a nice collection of NWA songs, a bit of Ice Cube in there, and it was just like a great overall experience just to sum up the film.
No, that's fair. I'm kind of pissing myself that I didn't write this one down. Did anybody else write this one down?
I did write this one down.
No. And the reason why is that whenever I go to listen to this soundtrack, the reason why I don't listen to this is because whenever I go to listen to it, I want to go listen to Dr. Dre's Compton album, which is like a who's who of West Coast hip hop. But yeah, solid choice.
It is a good one.
Yeah, again, I deliberately avoided music biopics on my list. If I didn't, this definitely would have been there. The fuck the police scene alone in this movie is unbelievable. It's the high point of the movie. It kind of falls off after that, but that scene is just so brilliant. And I've never that's one of the most incredible magic tricks I've ever seen in a movie, where it's like O'Shea Jackson Jr. He becomes his dad in that scene. It's unreal. It's an incredible movie moment. NWA is great, but yeah, I just avoided biopics.
For that scene, you know the bit where Paul Giamatti's just off stage and miming along to the words, but doesn't want to say them out loud because it feels a bit awkward. That's me watching the movie. I only know the songs. I only know the songs having watched the movie. I wasn't that into that era of rap music really until I saw it. I didn't know too much about Dr. Dre before he was Dr. Dre. It blew me away when I watched it. I've listened to it several times since. I can do several verses of No Vaseline from memory, but I won't because it would be really awkward and we'd all have a miserable time. It's a wonderful choice. It's a wonderful soundtrack and it's a wonderful movie.
And a wonderful way to close out the third round. Like how they did that. Tony, your turn. Let's go.
All right. So for round 3, so Brooklyn went first and he went with Oh Brother Where Art Thou. I do like how the two at the end of these films are very similar soundtracks, so similar. Jake went next week. He went with The Graduate. Jonathan went with Bohemian Rhapsody. Peggy went with Reality Bites, and Ryan went with the 2010s version of Oh Brother Where Art Thou, Straight Outta Compton. Two very similar soundtracks.
Is that what you think is it's the version of that?
I don't know.
All right.
No.
Okay, we've reached round 4. We go back to Ryan. Ryan, what you
I'm probably going to be on everyone's shit list, so I'm just going to take a shot right now before I even announce my pick. No, fuck, I'll just say it. I'm going into Geek, and it's going to be the one movie Geek soundtrack nobody might think of, but to me, this pretty much this soundtrack is kind of one of the 5. It's one of my 5 highlights of defending this movie. I'm picking the 2003 Daredevil soundtrack.
Cheers.
That's fair.
Okay. Now that I've taken my shot, now that I'm on everyone's shit list, let me just explain why I'm picking this one. I'm drafting this one. Daredevil, it's a bad movie. I will admit that. But the soundtrack itself, it was possibly one of the biggest collection of 2000s alt rock I have ever witnessed. in my personal life, I'm pretty sure everyone has their own 2000 alternate rocks artists out there. But for me, this was my introduction into alternative rock, which led to new metal, which led me down that rabbit hole. But even then, just the artists that were on there: 12 Stones, Evanescence, Fuel. Oh my God, The Calling. So many people were in. I mean, so many different songs in there. And at the same time, of course, with Daredevil, got me into just like, it's almost like I can almost vibe to this fucking thing. I can rock to this fucking soundtrack. And just like I said, it's one of my 5 reasons I will defend Daredevil for existing in general. Everyone may hate it, but I will defend it. I will still admit it sucks, but it's just a guilty pleasure that I will continue to defend. So let's get the pile of shit going.
Well, there's nothing wrong. I mean, everyone's got guilty pleasure movies that they will die on that hill for, and there's nothing wrong with that. I can't say I'm very familiar with it. I think I saw it once way back when it came out, and I haven't seen it again since. So
I'm not going to fault you for that. I have a similar one like that. I'm just going to put it in honorable mentions because I don't think anybody's going to pick it. But I have something similar where it's like the music of like the rock of that time period all concentrated in one soundtrack for a shitty movie. But it'll be interesting to see if people in the poll later look at that and automatically just not even realize we're just talking about the music and just look at the movie and be like, what is Ryan on? I hope people don't do that, but obviously they will.
Yeah. That's why I kind of figured people in comments can be like, wait, what? And then people in the polls are gonna be like, what the It's like, you really have to. I mean, just look at the soundtrack and you just listen to a couple songs. If you don't vibe it, that's fine. The fact that Bring Me to Life from Evanescence on there, My Immortal, I Won't Back Down is a great song I like listening to whenever I'm in the gym. And For You by The Calling, I don't know why, but it's one of my favorite. Whenever I see that on karaoke, I love to jam out to that song.
Doesn't that film have a song by House of Payne that isn't Jump Around?
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah. Wait, it's the one that introduces Bullseye.
It's Sam Rockton Shenanigans. Is that?
It's the most stupidest one, but I love it. Yeah, even represents the movie. It's stupid, but it's a guilty pleasure.
I'm just upset someone brought up Evanescence. We should just leave them in the early 2000s and just run away very, very far away.
Bring Me to Life is a good song.
Bring Me to Life is a great song. Call Me When You're Sober is also a fun one.
I love listening to Lithium when I'm driving though. It's just if I ever need a song when I'm down, that's the fucking song I listen to when I'm down.
If you want a song to bring you back up, go listen to Bridge Burning by Foo Fighters. Like the intro in that is just
that's true. All right.
So no one else has anything to say. So let's move past. Let's leave me on my island. Let's move past. Don't worry. No, I'm not being pitiful. I'm just saying I know what I am.
No, Jonathan. No.
Thank you, Jonathan.
No.
Thank you, Jonathan.
And I'm not even gonna try to hit her notes. No way. I can't sing.
Oh, I can't hit
those notes, let alone.
Ow.
It's like a Whitney Houston song. You know you can't hit those notes, but you just kind of want to try.
If I'm alone in a car, like in the shower, then nobody can hear me. Yeah, I'll give it a shot, but not within earshot of anybody.
All right, Peg.
Damn it! I was hoping you guys would keep bantering. All right, I guess I'm gonna have to go with this one. Okay, looking at these CDs in this Case Logic case of mine that I pulled out, you know exactly what period of my life I had a lot of discretionary funds to spend on CDs. So I'm going to keep going with it. And this movie is a classic in my head because I like my rom-coms. And it's got a great soundtrack. I mean, it's got the likes of the Beastie Boys on it. It's got Counting Crows. It's got Radiohead. And I think the one that might give it away, it's got some Coolio on it. I'm going to take Clueless with my next pick, which I'm sure none of you gentlemen even had a fathom of a thought for taking. But I used to listen to this soundtrack on repeat, so I figured it's only fair that I take it. Did anyone by chance even put it on their list?
No, but I adore the movie.
I forgot Coolio was on Clueless. I completely forgot that.
You don't remember the Rollin' with the Homies?
Yes, I do, but my mind thought it was a different artist and it wasn't Coolio.
That was Coolio, in fact. But yeah, it reminds me of my teenage years. So early teenage years, I should say that, just to specify.
That Clueless actually made me wish that a high school life was like that, and not like what 10 Things I Hate About You, She's All That was. Like, I wanted to maybe live in that high school life, not the high school teen dramas I grew up on. And don't get me started on High School Musical. It's like, yep. Too real.
Yeah, dating myself with my picks. Nobody else even thought of it. Didn't think so.
It's an interesting pick. Stuff like Kids in America by the Muffs, The Lightning Seeds.
Cracker.
Oh, what song?
The Change from The Lightning Seeds.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Not Three Lions. Okay.
The greatest song of all time. And then the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, but not the.
They make a cameo.
Ah. But it's not the one-hit wonder of theirs. It's the other one.
Yeah, it's not one of the more popular ones. But hey, I probably wore that CD out. It probably can't even play it right now if I tried to. But hey, I'm just gonna keep going with my little spiel, and we shall move on over to Jonathon.
I think I had my last movie picked.
Okay, I'm going to take my musical. I wanted to put one musical in. Musicals have always been a huge part of my life. I've always been a big fan. So picking a film one was hard. Do I go for an original one? There was plenty of like Disney ones I could have gone for in that sense, or the kids ones that were really good. Do I go for one that was a re-recording of a previous show, which is kind of cheating again? But I figured if they have gone out of the way to re-record the soundtrack and it's integral to the movie, that works if the movie version of that soundtrack is the most definitive of that soundtrack. So I gave it some thought and realized that I should stop thinking and just pick my favorite. And I've gone for the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I think has a phenomenal soundtrack. We can you can start with the famous ones. You've got your science fiction double feature performed by Richard O'Brien, performed by the original writer of the song, connecting with the words in a lot more of a personal way than on the original Broadway soundtrack or West End soundtrack. You get the Time Warp, just the best version. The drums are better. You get Sweet Transvestite, but about this weird, almost like what they call bongo intro, and just straight in with the full-on overdriven guitar rock version. You get the Floor Show later on, re-recorded really well. All the singers are really, really good. It's just, if you're going to take a musical that already exists and re-record it, you don't do what Tom Hooper did in Les Mis and cast people who can't sing.
To be fair, he casted you who could sing their ass off.
Cats are amazing. Well, I'm trying to thought there. No, you what you do is you get either the best original cast members or a few Hollywood stars in Barry Bostwick and Susan Sarandon, and just make it the best version of that soundtrack. It's the one everyone goes to listen to. You've all heard the Time Warp a million times, and you've heard that film version, which wasn't the original one, and it's just wonderful.
That's a good pick. This literally goes hand in hand with the movie. I mean, if you know of the soundtrack, then it's either you are aware of the movie's existence or you've seen it. I mean, I personally can tell. Some people have taken me to midnight to the whole like people they go to the screens of Rocky Horror and then they reenact it right in front of that screen. So It does not shock me. This is on here. I mean, personally, in my personal taste, I wouldn't have picked it. Mainly because I just got sick and tired. Like the Proclaimers, 5,000 miles. I'm in the version to where I hate hearing the Time Warp again.
Well, the only thing I know about this movie is the little bits and pieces that they have within the perks of being a wallflower. I've said this before, and I have yet to watch Rocky Horror Picture Show in its entirety. I will do that soon, but I'll let you guys talk. I gotta go get another beer.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Curry, I'm not going to complain because I adore Tim Curry and everything he does. I've only seen this movie once, and it was not in the preferred environment. So I feel like I'm missing something here, even though I do love, again, like I said, I love Tim Curry. It's sort of like The Room, where you have to see it in a theater where with a bunch of people to truly like appreciate the experience. And I have thankfully done that with The Room twice. But not Rocky Horror, and hopefully one day when theaters come back, I'll get the chance because
you can drag it as well.
It was a wonderful experience.
I'm
with a film.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this is a solid sleeper pick. Like you have time warp, you have new text. It's like you have Damn It, Janice, which is like another really sort of fun song considering the tone that you can get from it at times. But yeah, like fourth round, I figured this would have been like a top 15 pick.
Yeah, this was an absolute steal. Also, I still find it weird that Time Warp is played at like children's parties.
And they have no idea what the hell that is. Yeah, they have no idea what it is. I can personally tell from attending a couple of conventions in San Diego, like I know there will be people cosplaying as that in front of children. Children were like, Mom, why is that man wearing your kind of wet underwear? And then it's just like, yeah, let's keep them away until it's past 6 o'clock in the evening.
They have to learn sometime.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
This is why Tony's not a father.
Yeah, that we know of. All right, so Jake, since you questioned my manhood and my parentalship, you can go now.
I've been questioning you a lot today. Okay, so I'm debating. Peggy has her theme of only picking mid-90s movies. I'm debating whether to go with my seeming theme of picking movies from before I was born. I'm debating it. I'm between two. Either one from before I was born or one from much more recently. I'm gonna go. I am gonna go with the one from before I was born because I watched this movie. It was one that I had not. It is an 80s movie, but most of the soundtrack is Motown, which I was not expecting going in. This is a movie I'd been meaning to see for a long time. Something I finally caught up in quarantine. It's The Big Chill.
That is
This is wall to wall with Motown bangers. This movie. I mean, you have Heard It Through the Grapevine. You have My Girl. You have Ain't Too Proud to Beg. You got the Aretha song, The Natural Woman, Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman.
Oh, yeah, I think it is just Natural Woman.
Natural Woman. That's Make Me Feel is like in parentheses. Yeah. But you would not expect a movie like The Big Chill to have the soundtrack that it does, but it makes it all the better for it. The movie's fine, but the soundtrack, it's not great, and it's like white people problems and whatever, but the soundtrack is phenomenal. If you just want to listen to some Motown hits for 2 hours, you could do worse than putting on the Big Chill soundtrack.
No, I think it's
not seen it, and I'm unfamiliar with the soundtrack. So
the soundtrack is solid. The movie, but it does have Kevin Kline in it, so that's good.
If you love Motown, you'll love the soundtrack for The Big Chill.
Yeah, just quickly, you mentioned a great band, My Guild from the Temptations, Good Lovin' from the Young Rascals, the tracks of My Tears from Smokey Robinson, Joy to the World by Three Dogs Night, Natural Woman by Aretha Franklin, I Second Our Motion from Smokey Robinson, A White Shade of Pale. So, I've already downloaded this onto my phone after you told me about it.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack.
Yeah, it is. I'm not familiar with the movie and a couple of some of the deeper cuts of the soundtrack. But yeah, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman is like Aretha's, I'd say one of her best songs. Second to her cover of the Border song. But yeah, it's a who's who of 60s and 70s.
Yeah, I have two movies with Aretha songs in them. Just by coincidence.
She's probably the greatest female voice of all time.
Way up there.
Yeah, she's definitely on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
if anything. So, solid pick from Jake. Over to Brooklyn. Close out round 4.
Okay, I am torn between 2. Actually, I'm torn between 4. If I'm being incredibly honest with you. But let's go with this one then. I talked about like favorite and Disney tracks. I said previously that I wasn't super sold on Aladdin, but this is the one that I have sort of grown up with and has sort of stayed in that realm. Tim Rice and Elton John. It is 94's Lion King.
Okay.
I almost cursed myself. But yeah, Elton John, if you remember the last time, or one of the last times I was on here for best songs in movies, I believe I picked Circle of Life first as one of my first picks. That is an incredible song overall. Just what they're doing in terms of like layering and like just the arrangement of the song. And then you have I Just Can't Wait to Be King, Be Prepared, not one that like I'm super like attached to, but a lot of people consider it one of the best Disney villain songs ever. Hakuna Matata, Can You Feel the Love Tonight, the cheesiest love song in the history of cheesiest love songs. And then you have Elton John's. And then you have
2019 actually makes it even cheesier. So
yeah. If anything, it is for like the culmination of Hans Zimmer, Tim Rice, and Elton John, and what they're able to do, what they're able to bring to the table. Obviously, Tim Rice with his lyricism, Hans Zimmer with just how he is able to really fill a room. And like whenever you listen to these songs, there's nothing that's really like missing. Like there's like everything sort of filled in perfectly. But yeah, Lion King is a really, really fun soundtrack.
It's wonderful having notes as we're doing this, because my notes hit for this round said Rocky Horror / Lion King, which is very few things that are compared at any normal time. It's my favorite Disney soundtrack. I mean, I feel Be Prepared is missing something. Maybe it's missing, Chiwetel Ejiofor weirdly rapping it, like in the remake. Maybe that's what that song really needed. No, it's everything you said, and it's also the African vocals. I think that just elevates it from being what I said Elton John, Tim Rice, and Hans Zimmer pulled together. Adding in Leb OM just takes it to that extra level from brilliant to iconic. It's probably maybe the only soundtrack where I know of all 5 songs every word. It's just a marvelous set of songs.
Yeah, it's my favorite Disney movie from my childhood, and it is my favorite Disney soundtrack. If I was gonna pick one, I thought about this was gonna be the one. But again, conscious choice to avoid it. But yeah, no arguments. It's a phenomenal pick.
Yeah, I was in between both Aladdin and The Lion King. I went with The Lion because it had the more eclectic of songs on there. And then at the same time, after I had just gotten after my mess up with Star Wars, I thought, oh wait, could this be confused as a score? So it was kind of like my little trip up. Like, I don't want to take too many shots today. But still, a great choice. Like one of my favorite soundtracks to listen to. Even The Circle of Life is so good. Like you can just even the whole I literally don't want to sing right now. Just hearing that.
That's not bad, actually.
I was going to say Brian's got some pipes on him.
Well,
we should also because of the program. Together for a bit. But yeah, I am shocked that Lion King went in the 4th round. I was expecting that to be like a first round pick. That is the last pick of the 4th round. So I'll quickly do the rundown. Ryan went first for this round. He went with Daredevil, 2003 Devil, not the TV show, the actual movie with Ben Affleck. Peggy went with Clueless. Jonathon went with Rocky Horror Picture Show. Jake went with Big Chill, and Brooklyn went with Lion King 1994, and go back to Brooklyn for his final pick.
All right, now it is time for my sleeper pick. We now go to the year 2004. This is actually a movie that I watched over quarantine, and like the first thing that I said whenever it was over is, "Man, this soundtrack is awesome." Let's go over some of the tracks. Jesse's Girl by Rick Springfield, Thriller by Michael Jackson, Burning Down a House, Talking Heads, an entire listening of Vienna by Billy Joel. This is the Jennifer Garner, Mark Ruffalo rom-com classic, 13 Going on 30.
Those two songs, I knew it. But go ahead.
Yeah, just a culmination of everything. Like obviously you have the Thriller scene, where they're all dancing. You also have Ice Ice Baby, What I Like About You, I Want to Dance with Somebody. And like I said earlier, I think Vienna is used perfectly in the song in relation to like
favorite Billy Joel song.
Yeah. Vienna I think is my favorite. I have to go back. I'll look at my list. But yeah, that song in particular and how it ties in with the movie and like really like from the opening lines, slow down you crazy child, you're so romantic for a juvenile. But yeah, I knew this one I was able to like have it in the later rounds. But yeah, if for anybody who hasn't had a chance to check out the movie or the soundtrack, check out both because they're both unreal.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you picked it. I'm glad you picked the rom-com. For the record, it's a tie between Vienna and A Matter of Trust for me for favorite Billy Joel song. But I digress. But yeah, no, I'm surprised I didn't have this on my list, but yeah, it was not on my list. But it does have a fantastic soundtrack because they hit all like the big ones in there.
My favorite Billy Joel song is The Ballad of Billy the Kid. I forgot.
Okay, that's fair. That's fine. All right, we'll get off of Billy Joel. Anybody else? Have you guys seen 13 Going on 30? Any of you gentlemen?
I have.
Bits and pieces.
Didn't cross my mind.
It's cute.
So I have a list of about 3 or 4.
Right here.
I have a list of about 3 or 4 that I was going to say at the end, just like, oh, you missed this one, and this, and you should look at this one because it's really awesome. You should look at this one. What's 13 Going on 30?
Nice.
It has Tainted Love just snuck in there, and it's just like that song. If that song appears in any film, just like go right now.
Yeah, I will admit, like I said, I saw 13 Thrown on going in bits and pieces though. So, but still, the soundtrack was like very good. I mean, I think this was during a plane flight. Like at first, I saw it playing on my cousin's monitor screen, so I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. So I decided I didn't even bother watching the me. I just wanted to jump to where she was on, and it was pretty much the scene where they were all dancing to Thriller. And I'm like, oh, fun.
Pull up Garth's most recent comment.
Yep.
Yeah. That's right. Andy Serkis.
The boss, yeah.
Yeah, and Andy Serkis is in there.
Yep. I've seen a lot.
Attempting to do a very, very bad moonwalk.
But I give him the props though for it.
Right?
I need to watch Fake on Fake, and I've not seen it in like a couple of years. It's just fun.
Exactly. You know, it's a good time. Like corny school as long as it's genuine. I dig it.
Jennifer Garner is genuinely really good in the movie.
Yeah.
Jennifer Garner, really good performance. I'm not a huge fan of hers overall, but she's great in that movie.
You give her the right vehicle, she always performs.
Yeah, that Love Simon, she knocked out of the park.
Go take her out of Butter.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one yet.
She plays like a super like right wing Midwestern girl that like is like all about the state fairs.
Yeah, she's like the butter sculpting champion, and Olivia Wilde. She's just the punk version, who's also good.
Yeah,
nice.
I'll have to check that movie out.
Actually, Jennifer Garner is actually she's also one of my reasons why I defend Daredevil. But moving on.
Come on.
Moving on, indeed. 13 Going off 30 is off the board. Jake, your 5th pick.
Okay, I'm actually gonna go for a movie from my lifetime for a soundtrack, and a very recent one, 2017. Actually, Haley is gonna be very happy with this pick. I'm kind of amazed it hasn't been taken yet, considering how this movie would not exist without the soundtrack. Because every song is specifically engineered for this movie. I'm picking Baby Driver.
Oh, okay.
It's a soundtrack I listen to pretty regularly. Like if I was like not working and going to the library and just hanging out on just like fooling around on my computer, I would just listen to the Baby Driver soundtrack because it's just genre-wise, it's all over the place. You have Bell Bottoms opening, which is just absolutely fantastic. It just absolutely makes that scene, which is probably the best scene in the movie, the opening car chase. And just it being in rhythm with the song is just elite level filmmaking from Edgar Wright. And I know Edgar Wright gets a lot of love in this community. And in that particular case, rightfully so, because. And if you just look at the soundtrack, oh, relax, Rude. I'm talking about the soundtrack, okay? I'm not talking about the movie. The movie is my least favorite Edgar Wright movie, but you can't argue with the soundtrack. You got the Bell Bottoms, you got Queen on there, Brighton Rock, which is a lesser Queen song, but it's still like you got T-Rex on there, you got Beck on there. You got and then Radar Love is just a really awesome song, and you got the Harlem Shuffle. It's just like you got just a diversity of genre. It's integral to the movie, and it's just a really fun listen. It's something I listen to in my free time. So yeah, that's my last pick. Sorry, Rue, for being so white.
I feel the film, which has multiple like massive high-speed car chases and like things like that, and all these weird stunts. The most unrealistic part of the movie is when John Hamm asks for his driving song, and he says "Brighton Rock," and then John Hamm recognizes what that song is because no one knows that song, like most obscure Queen song you can think of.
That's how you know a British person made it.
Exactly. It's a great soundtrack. My favorite part is the use of the Blur instrumental intermission on the windscreen wipers. The do 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 do, and it speeds up and speeds up and speeds up, and the wipers speed up in time with it while they're waiting for them to come out. I feel that the film is just one long music video. So good soundtrack.
I can't believe I just forgot "Easy" by the Lionel Richie and the Commodores. "Easy Like Sunday Morning" is an all-time great song, and it's used really well in the movie.
Also tones of Lionel Richie.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, be quick. I'll be quick. I will admit the soundtrack is kind of one of the good parts of Baby Driver the movie to me. The film itself, like it dips somewhere in the second act, but even then the soundtrack is still very good to where these are songs I can imagine myself driving to, rather if it's just to pick up groceries, going on a road trip either, or even just if I'm going cross country to visit a relative. Like these are great songs.
I have seen this movie. I think it's good, not great. I was also I think I was just a little late in terms of jumping onto the soundtrack. I will steal a bit though from Jonathon, is that you have a song here by Young MC that isn't "Bust a Move."
It also has the greatest song between both Yodel and Gather, "Hocus Pocus" by Focus. That song is absolutely batshit crazy. It's what back in the mid 2000s, there was a DJ called Chris Morales who used to play that every morning, and it's just when I was at school, I used to just get me fired up and ready for the day, and now I listen to it this song. I just need to do drugs while listening to it. It's just yes, put it in my veins.
All right, Jake closes out his team with Baby Driver. Jonathon, over to you, sir. What are your fifth and final?
My fifth and final pick, I'm going to go for, and I'm not exaggerating here, one of the most influential soundtracks of all time. Prior to this soundtrack, everyone was doing this weird thing where they were putting effort in. They were writing songs for the movie, and they were, making sure that everything was really fine-tuned. And these guys, they went and got a Proclaimers song that is not 500 Miles. They went and got a Joan Jett song that is not I Love Rock and Roll. And they got a Baha Men song that was not Who Let the Dogs Out. They also had multiple songs by Smash Mouth. And you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Every animated film has tried to copy this soundtrack, and none have ever done it as effectively as Shrek. Shrek's soundtrack works beautifully. It's perfect. He comes out like that, and Smash Mouth All-Star starts playing, and it just gives you that feeling of what you're watching. For some reason, we have this weird cover of Hallelujah by Rufus Wainwright, not either the Cohen version or the Buckley version.
Yeah, the Jeff Buckley version. Yeah,
it works. they have, as they're going back, Proclaimers, I'm on my way from misery to happiness today. And it works. Everything works. There's a dance party at the end where Eddie Murphy does a reprise of I'm a Believer for no reason. And it works. Every song in that film is perfect for that film. And every animated lesser, like, that second tier of animation where they don't want to try, has been copying that model of trying to use pop songs people might not have heard of, and none have come close to the Shrek soundtrack. You can put on most songs in that movie, and so many people of my generation will know most of the words and not even know how they know the words because they watched Shrek when they were 11. It's just a wonderful soundtrack.
Oh, I believe. You made a good choice. Oh my God. Yeah. Every point you made out was right. This is the one of the few soundtracks that were able to pick songs from artists that are not the most shoved down your throat pop singles out there. And the fact that Smash Mouth actually gives a good version of I'm a Believer, which actually amazing. I think this movie actually helped really get Smash Mouth into the upper tier next to Mystery Men. So it was kind of insane. But yeah, I still love the Shrek movie. And yeah, the Hallelujah song, that's actually surprisingly one of the, a very good, I won't say soulful, but it's a really good song. Like when it comes to the turn of really good transition from the second into the third act of that movie.
Yeah, it worked beautifully.
Whoop, hang on.
Rory
I
agrees.
think the dog agrees.
Yeah. But yeah, this isn't an inspired pick. I saw a few lists that had Shrek in it. It's like a joke. It's like if you look at them actual bangers and just if anyone insults the Proclaimers, you're banned from this life. I will find you.
Nothing against the Proclaimers. I've just I'm of two minds with Shrek. I really like Shrek, the movie, but it would be so much better with the pop culture references cut in half. Just for me personally. And I think the soundtrack is kind of part of that. Even though I do like some of the songs on it, it's just that it's also sort of part of why Shrek is sort of isn't on the Mount Rushmore of great animated movies, because it otherwise could have been.
All right, so a few things. One, shout out to Mystery Men, the first movie to use All-Star in their soundtrack. Two, God damn you, Jonathan! You also took one that I have that I was considering. Although my list is already completed, I am still mad that you took Shrek. I was debating between this one and Shrek 2. I would probably go Shrek 2 over Shrek 1, only because I'm a fan of Accidentally in Love. They do Funky Town is used perfectly in that, and then Holding Out for a Hero is I think the best song to come out of those movies. But yeah, solid last choice.
Yep.
Also, Shrek 2 also randomly has Tom Waits.
Yes.
That, just any animation film that just goes and here's some Tom's Waits. Yes.
Okay.
More children should be exposed to Tom Waits, and that's why I don't work with children.
Very poor choice of words there.
There's a reason why I said the exact second after it did, and that's why I don't work with children anymore. All right.
Still hope.
So,
Okay. It is over to me.
Yep.
Now, should I go with the one I was going to pick, or should I shuffle these and have you guys pick number 1 through 16, and that'll be my final pick?
Are they all mid-90s soundtracks?
Wait, Tony, do you have your cards? We can just go red or black
90s.
on this.
All mid to late 90s. I will shuffle them up. Everyone's going to be mad. I'm scratching CDs and whatever. All right, they're all shuffled up. Hang on. There we go.
I need to watch Mystery Men.
Somebody pick a number 1 through 16.
10.
2. 8.
I'll make it 12 since you said 10 and 2. So 16.
Can
15,
we double down?
Well, number 12 was Too Long Fu. Thanks for everything.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
I cannot tell you what's on there off the top of my head, but apparently I like the music enough in the movie to go out and buy the soundtrack.
Oh Jesus Christ! I just got the image of Wesley Snipes and Drag in my head now. Oh my God!
Wesley Snipes, John Leguizamo, and Patrick Swayze all in Dragon's movie.
Yep.
It's a film.
Oh, there's a crack in it. I don't like that at all.
Oh damn!
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds. Let me have a look. See what this.
I don't know. There's some random ones in here, but that's the one you guys chose. So hey, why not?
Salt and Pepper, Tom Jones, The Commodores, Patti LaBelle, Barbara Streisand, Eartha Kitt, Tchaikovsky.
I don't know the soundtrack. I know the movie. I just don't know the soundtrack.
I haven't watched it in a while, but yeah, I remember enjoying the movie.
To be fair, it's a movie about drag queens, so that's always gonna have great music in it because drag queens are just the best when it comes to music taste. It's campus, it's the gayest, but it's amazing.
I mean, the drag queens do get a town to get the sticks out of their butts and actually
one person
themselves. So yeah.
Thank you, Rue. I wasn't a go. I wasn't just because I don't think anyone's gonna pick it. I wasn't gonna go with the Go soundtrack from '99 for my next pick. But hey, that's it. No need to go on. Ryan, since we're running a little bit behind, what's your fifth and final pick?
Okay, my final one. I was like really shuffling through my head whether if I wanted to end it once again with Geek, to redeem myself from Daredevil, but then I realized I shouldn't try to redeem myself. I like the soundtracks I picked, and then I'm just gonna end this one with another animated movie. And I'm picking this animated movie because this animated movie. This was my childhood. This is my favorite nostalgic of the 90s to go back to. And Amara, I know you're in this chat, and I actually fought you on this cartoon in your One Gotta Stays. I am picking the Rugrats movie soundtrack. I'm trying to say because I got them on there. See, yeah, I'm wearing them right now.
Nice.
Those are phenomenal.
The Rugrats movie. One of my favorite
Bruce Willis song.
No, that's Rugrats Go Wild. The Rugrats movie it's got a different collective. It's got Blackstreet, Maya, Busta Rhymes on there. Even has some of the voice actors in character singing the songs. They do a version of One Way or Another. The voice actress who plays Angelica sings that song, and it ties so well into the movie. And
trying to get Cynthia, isn't she, the doll?
What?
She's trying to get Cynthia the doll, isn't she?
Cynthia the doll. And then there's even a song of Busta Rhymes doing the I am Reptar, hear me roar. I am Reptar, king of dinosaurs. This was I actually did want this for Christmas, and my parents actually got me the movie and the soundtrack for Christmas. So if I really wanted to get back to a soundtrack that really eclipsed myself personally that I love, then it is the Rugrats movie.
Never seen it.
Yeah, you do you. I remember playing the Rugrats the movie game on the N64. Minipod was like the best on that. But yeah, I have nothing else to add.
So there's a song on called "The World Is Something New to Me," and it has, and I'm going to name them: Lisa Loeb, Iggy Pop, Patti Smith, Lou Rawls, Fred Schneider, Cindy Wilson, Lenny Kravitz, and Beck all singing on it.
Yeah, that song is all the new babies who've just been born at the hospital.
No doubt also had a feature on there as well.
No doubt, and Elvis Costello, I Threw My Toys Around.
I think that's a whole collective of 90s just mashed onto that CD. Just like Daredevil's a mash of 2000s, that is a collective mash of 90s.
Didn't even go with Rugrats Go Wild that had Bruce Willis singing as Spike the dog.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
or the second one, the In Paris one, which was I think the original release of the song "Who Let the Dogs Out" by the Barmen, wasn't it? That was like the single for that was intercut with the Rugrats Go Paris.
Oh my God, Rugrats Go Paris! Even the T-Boz when she was after TLC when she just did that one song, my own getaway, my personal getaway, and my private getaway. Oh my God, but yeah, Rugrats just brings so much.
TLC was my favorite back in the day. But that wraps up the draft. Yay, we got to the end. Hey. Tony, over to you to recap everyone's team, everyone in the chat. What did we miss? What would have been on your list? Start firing away. Tony will read them off after he reads off everyone's teams.
Absolutely. Okay, so Brooklyn went first overall. He went Days Confused, Train Spotting, Overhaul, Where Art Thou, The Lion King from 94, and 13 going on 30.
Solid team.
Jake went second. He went with Purple Rain, The Blues Brothers, The Graduate, The Big Chill, and Baby Driver. Jonathon third. He went Saturday Night Fever, Guardians of the Galaxy, Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Shrek. I now want to see Shrek in Rocky Horror Picture Show. I need that to happen. Peggy, you were fourth. You went Forrest Gump, Empire Records, Reality Bites, Clueless, and 2-1 Crew. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
Man.
And Ryan, you were last. You went Creed, 92's Aladdin, Shout and Compton, Daredevil, and the Rugrats movie.
Solid teams from everyone except for maybe me. I don't know. Mine's a little.
I mean, look at my team. It looks like my team would get into would be the wild card in the playoffs, honestly.
But there's so many that probably just missed out on being on your top 5 squad, if you will. We're going to go around the horn, have you read off a couple that just missed out on being drafted by you. Let's start over with Jonathon.
I nearly went for the Muppet movie because I love the Muppet movie and all the songs on that are wonderful. I nearly went for Pulp Fiction. I nearly went for Tron Legacy, and one that I was being to at the end. I nearly went for Maximum Overdrive, the Stephen King directed killer trucks going around killing everyone. The album for that, the soundtrack, is AC/DC's Who Made Who, which only has one original song and a few of their have their previous one. It's just AC/DC songs. They're not my favorite heavy band, but it's a bloody good heavy band, and it's got Hell's Bells on it. So that was my other one.
Nice, that's fair. All right, Ryan, what is a few that just missed out being a part of your squad?
Well, Tron Legacy obviously was one of them. To keep some geek stuff out of the way, the Black Panther soundtrack. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Men in Black, the first Men in Black, and even the second one as well. I mean, because the Will Smith singles were fantastic, but the first one is incredible. And I would have snuck in a musical. The Muppets Christmas Carol. I would have featured that. And then for my musical sneak-in, it would have been a tie between either White Christmas or Meet Me in St. Louis.
All right, fair enough.
Nice.
Surprising picks from you at the end there. Jake, what were a few that just missed out being part of your team?
Okay, my geek pick is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's just a soundtrack that I really love listening to all the time as well. What's Up Danger is just an absolute banger. Oh my God. My Tarantino movie soundtrack, Kill Bill Volume 1, another soundtrack I listen to a lot. I would say Goodfellas, for Scorsese, on brand for me. And then what was another one? Oh, a couple of musical mockumentaries. This is Spinal Tap and Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping. Both have great songs, like legitimately really good songs, in addition to just being hilarious.
Gotcha.
So those are my honorable mentions.
Cool.
There's 3 in particular that I was on my honorable mentions. Booksmart, 2019, is a really good job of encapsulating the overall vibe of high school, in the late 2010s. I was also torn. There are 2 Disney movies that were also my honorable mentions. Holes, rewatched that a couple weeks ago. That has a bomb soundtrack. And then this would have been my personal choice. I would have had to defend this one quite a bit, but Fantasia 2000 it has incredible music overall. It blurs the line between score and soundtrack. I probably would have had to defend why it should be a soundtrack, but yeah.
That's cool. And Tony, had you been drafting with us, are there a few that you would have picked that didn't get named?
So the big one that everyone missed and everyone loses this week. Yeah, Fly Like an Eagle from Seal.
Space Jam,
the winner. And Quad City DJs. Space Jam. How did
Because of the main guy on there. That is why.
That was also on my list. I could have literally listed down all my favorites, but I didn't want to take too much time. No, but I also had 8 Mile on my list as well.
Yeah, 8 Mile is another one.
That was a big one. And also, This is Spinal Tap was the other one, because that along with Blues Brothers is just the perfect mix of just you're actually credible musicians doing funny stuff.
All right, and then a couple that were in my stack that could have been selected random in that last 5th pick. I've got The Saint, I've got The Wedding Singer, Waiting to Exhale,
Yep.
Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit. Apparently, I really wanted to listen to that one.
Lauryn Hill, baby.
And somebody help me out. Which Batman is this? The one with Smashing Pumpkins and R. Kelly and
Batman Forever?
Yeah, probably Batman Forever.
Any of the any of the 90s Batman movies were on my list. I just did not
Return one that I would have went with.
I'm shocked about no one for 89's Batman because of Prince. Also, just quickly,
That's 89.
Any Beatles songs?
Yeah, Help was one.
Yeah,
Help was next. That one on my list. Yeah.
I almost considered Yesterday because, like Bohemian Rhapsody and Straight Outta Compton, it got a new generation into the Beatles music. But then, it's kind of like, at the same time, it's still kind of like picking and choosing.
I think my issue for that one is the soundtrack is not nice to listen to. He's not the best. He's not the best singer. Like, it's almost like a cheap, like, for the other two, we got the original recordings of Queen songs and NWA songs, whereas here is Himish Patel whining his way through Obla Obla Da. It's not quite the same in the lot.
Yeah, you'll get 4 of the Hamish Patel's the Jack Malik songs, and then you'll get him singing Yesterday. And it's like, I just want to skip those 4 and just get to the actual songs.
All right. And just a few from the chat quickly. So, rewrote Spider-Man Survivors and the last full studio album, which is Black Panther.
Well, Ryan mentioned Black Panther. I was thinking Black Panther or Spider-Verse was possible.
Yeah. That would have been very sneaky, but possible.
I wouldn't have counted that.
I would have thought of The Crow. Yes, The Crow. Highlander.
Yeah, Highlander.
Not another teen movie.
Grosse Point Blank is an excellent one. I will agree with you on that too.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and then
Django was another Tarantino I was thinking of, but that also has like a foreign sounds.
He's always got solid soundtracks. Pulp Fiction.
When you think of the director that does puts like random songs into it, makes a good playlist. Tarantino's one of the first names, but no one picked any of his work. I'm really shocked.
Kill Bill Volume 1 would have been mine. I was strongly considering that.
Django definitely would have been mine solely on the John Legend song "Who Did That to You." I mean,
I went with the other director who has great soundtracks in all of his movies, Edgar Wright, instead.
All right, so let's go. Let's go around the horn, get all your plugs in, and then we'll get you guys out of here because we are running a little over. We are at 2 hours, or almost about 2 hours. We're 4 minutes away from 2 hours. So, Jonathan, let's let you get to bed. What you got?
I have no plugs whatsoever other than everyone, it's scary. Be nice to each other, wash your hands, and be good people.
I will take that. That's fantastic anecdotes and advice to give to people. Ryan.
People can follow me on Twitter. My username caramel_Payne. Also, I have a YouTube show called Mount Schmodown. People who know the movie trivia Schmodown, I pretty much do player profile breakdowns of movie Schmodown competitors who are sometimes underlooked or just not considered as much of the greats in the Hall of Fame of the Schmodown. This Saturday, my co-host and I, we're going to be talking about Miss Movies Brianne Chandler. I hope people come and check us out. It's going to be like our last of the year because then we're just going to take a break for the holidays and then start in January. We're going to cover Kim Knapsack.
Nice. That's cool. All right, Jake, what you got coming up?
Okay, a couple things. Opening night trivia. I'm the singles champion over there. I defend my singles title against Bill Carriola. That's coming out, I think, next week. So check that out. It was a really fun match, except Bill made me watch Cats.
I'm shocked she didn't pick Cats. I'll be honest.
And then I write for Full Metal, so check that stuff out. Otherwise, nothing to plug other than that.
That's cool. Brooklyn, you got anything coming down the pike?
A couple things. One, go check out the episode that we dropped on Monday of Jukebox Playlist. Christmas covers. Myself, Jim Green, RJ, and Kirk Kolakowski had a really fun time there. Also on Monday, we dropped the last Multiplex Miscellaneous of the year, the first triple threat, as well as be on the lookout for the top 20 of 2020. Going to be a two-parter starting. The first part goes up on December 28th. Myself, Zach Ford, Andrew Barr, Scott Harvey, and Caleb Coho. 5 very short-winded people.
Yeah, that'll not go for hours.
Yeah.
And then Tony, what do we got coming up on feature presentation? Don't forget what's happening Saturday, or not? Is it this? No, next Saturday.
Oh, next Saturday. Don't worry. So this week, so sign up sheet's still available for FPTL if you're interested in playing. That'll be the last live match for the year. Next one will be January 1st. I know for Bill Carriel will be out next week. The Christmas special. He's actually going to record it straight after this, so I can't tell you if it's good or not. But it's going to be interesting. He's got a very special guest being on. Yep. And then, so this is the last live one. We're going to do one more live episode of Fantasy Film Fights at the NBA for 2019. So that was still available. However, we are going to be around next week. And then I'll let Peggy tell you what that is and also what's happening on the Boxing Day, 2026.
So next week it's going to be a pre-tape favorite holiday films. Could be Christmas or otherwise. It's going to be a good episode. We're pre-taping it sometime this week, and we'll get it to you on Wednesday as usual. So if you need to get away from the fam for a little bit, just a little break, it'll be there for you. We'll be there for you. And then on the 26th, we are doing the multiple choice maelstrom again, and it's going to be all movies from the wall that is directly behind me right now. It's only 40 questions, and there are 300 movies above me. So I get to pick 40 of them and quiz y'all on it. I would get 100% on this. Let's see how many of you can do as good as that. Who knows? It'll be fun. But next week, holiday movies. That'll be fun. So
there'll be something out. So next week. So for Christmas week. So I know for Bill Carriel will be on Tuesday. Fantasy Football Fights Wednesday. There'll be Maelstrom will be the only live thing on that week, and then Friday we'll have a special FPTL teams match.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. So for myself, for Tony, Jonathan, Ryan, Jake, and Brooklyn, happy holidays, I guess, if we won't be around. All right. Anyways, see you later. Bye.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and please don't forget to vote.
That was
Awesome.
I thought it reeked.
Who's winning?
Let's see who wins.
You're gonna win.
Nothing personal. It's really gonna matter.
Tune in next week.
You see what happens?
It's brand new.
Episode?
Fantasy film fight.
Doesn't matter who wins, because they're all losers.